Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build. So today, in keeping with Halloween, I thought we would build a spooky asylum. So, let's jump into this one. Okay, so yeah, a bit of an old school asylum vibe going on here, and I had wanted to go with kind of an abandoned vibe. Unfortunately, when you do that in the building system in 76, it ends up being a little bit under-decorated, so I guess this one's kind of still working, but let's have a little look at where we are. So, the spot I've built before, just by Somersville Lake here, see it there, there's Overlook Cabin, Somersville just up the road, New Gad. I needed a reasonably large flat spot, so this is a pretty decent one for that, although not quite as flat as I thought it was, but it worked out quite well. So let's take a look at the building on this one. Okay, kicking off with the foundations and going into colour for this bit. So basically, the main part of this is going to be 3 foundations wide and then fairly straight backwards. But because the ground is not quite as level as it looks, we need to pop this back section up a little bit. So once this wants to cooperate, there we go. We will extend this out backwards. So the back section is going to be sort of a 3x6, although I'm actually going to have to make some slight adjustments to this in a moment because I noticed a small issue. So, there we go. That bit of grass is sticking through, which is kind of annoying. I did try bumping this up a little bit further just to kind of try and make that go away. Unfortunately, it didn't. Though, once I relogged later on, it did disappear, so that was helpful. It's slightly annoying in the initial build, still. We'll press on. So we'll extend this out as our 3x3. Or 6x3, rather. There we go. I'll be changing out the textures of these later on. Keep that clinical vibe. There we go. Right now, that front section is just 3x1, and it's supposed to be 3x2, so we'll have to come back and adjust that in just a moment. But first, we're going to get a couple side rooms on here as well, 2x2s. There we go. Nice and easy. So I've got a large kind of cruciform shape. It's going to be kind of more that shape once I actually make the adjustments, but it's fine. So this is the new building set that has been added to the Atomic Shop this week in time for Halloween. It's another kind of spooky one, slightly different vibe to the old one, although we've still got the vines and stuff growing on it, which is quite cool. I do like it. I think I marginally prefer the other one, but the vines are a little better on this one, so swings and roundabouts. So there we go, figured out that I've not gone far enough back with this front section, so we'll nudge everything over one. I will have to add an extra row of foundations right at the very back in a bit, but we'll get to that in a moment. And there we go. So for most of this, at least on the internals, I'm going to want double-sided walls, and I'm going to end up using the brick ones, but we'll get to that in a minute. So for this front section where the floors step down, we'll need to bump these up a little bit just to get the second row of walls in there in order to double-side them, because you need to have a foundation on both sides of the join. I'm going to use the brick doorways here. These are one of the better ones for double-siding, and the metal door frames look kind of clinical as well, which is nice. If you don't have appropriate white wallpapers, which I do, but for those who don't, the brick set there makes a really good choice as well, because it's blank state here. Is obviously whitewashed, so that works quite well for clinical sort of builds. So there we go, we'll close off those 2 side doors, and we'll get back onto some more walls. So I'm just pondering where I want my windows here. Basically decided to go front to back on the building, and have no windows on the sides, so looks alright. We'll head over this side and match that up. Looks better from the front that way, and it's nice to have them sort of matching and even. So we'll close that off, and the rest of this won't need windows. So let's just get some walls around the outside edge. Remember to extend this foundation a little bit further. There we go. Nice. So, now to the internal walls. Now these new ones, doubling them up just doesn't seem to work. Some sets do, some don't. So I went on to the contemporary set here, which is good if you would rather use wood than concrete, but I will actually change my mind and go for the brick set in just a moment. But for now, we can double-side these. Get back to the door, it might help. There we go. Nice. And we'll double-side that one. Winner. So as I say, we'll swap those out for bricks in just a bit because the door frames are a bit more clinical looking. But for now, I'm going to use the brick set to create some patient rooms, I suppose they are. They look kind of like cells, but I don't want to call them that because it's the wrong vibe. But yeah, patient rooms. So we're going to go 3 on each side of the centre here. And then it'll leave a 3x2 area at the back, which will become our operating room. So there we go. Let's get these rooms in. Lots of double-sided walls. Definitely want to wallpaper absolutely everything in this place. And there we go. So now we swap these out for brick. And now all we need to do is close off those spaces we want walls and not doors. So we'll swap these side ones out, just like that. And we will continue all the way around. But as that's fairly repetitive, let's jump on a little bit and start on the roofs. So, a new set of roofs come with this particular building set as well. These are kind of rusted metal and they're quite cool. I like them. As to where and when I'm going to use them, well, we'll have to find out, but for today we're going to make use. So, a couple of ordinary corners there, and we'll use the big sticky up roof and window set in the middle here. It's worth making sure you don't overdo it with this particular piece, because otherwise it can look a little bit weird. With it obviously being standalone separate pieces, they don't always mesh together well. So, we'll just test this out here. If there were kind of a set that was designed to sit together in 3s or something, you might be able to use it a bit more fluidly for larger builds, but for this one, we'll just go for the ordinary sloped ones. It doesn't look quite so strange. Nice. So, moving on to the side rooms. Couple of corner pieces again. And this is where I ran into a little hiccup. This back one goes in fine, but at the front here, it won't snap. And I'm pretty sure the reason for it is because the floor is a little bit higher up, pushing the top of the walls up, obviously, as well. It means the top collision box on the roof next to it that I'm now standing on gets in the way. So we'll snap a flat one in and then change it out, and it's problem solved. So on this middle section here, I'm going to go with flat roofs because I don't really want to try and double-side the smaller roof pieces on top to make the walls meet the roof, and the low ceilings kind of work as well. Although I'm not the biggest fan of the flat roofs generally, it makes things look really boxy, so I like to use the angled ones. In this case, it's the way to go. We're having the same problem there on the front again, so we'll just get another flat roof in. That's the wrong way around. Let's flip that over. And now we can change it back out for the angled one. Problem solved. So, up the back here, this one's actually nice and easy. So, a corner piece there. I did want corner pieces here, but because of the walls being double-sided, I think, it just won't snap in, so we can work around that. We'll use the regular sloped ones, another corner over there, big roof window piece thingamajig there at the back, and a flat one just behind it. Now, closing off this gap here is dead easy. Just drop the appropriate pieces in. This one at the front, however, not so easy because obviously the walls are a little too high here. Obviously, the build's stepping up as you come into this back section. You're going to end up with stuff that kind of sticks up a little bit. Doesn't really show too much from ground level, but if you look too hard, you can see it. However, we do need to close this off, so to solve our little problem with things not snapping the right way around here, because I do want wallpaper on the inside, we'll swap these out for flat roofs again, and now it will actually snap in properly. Basically, it's a case of which wall beneath are you actually snapping it to, and with the roof there, it wouldn't let it snap to the right section of wall, so that allowed us to push it into the right place. So you can kind of see the offset there because the wall's a little bit higher. Really see it with this window on there. This is from the rustic greenhouse set. It makes for a nice little sort of high-up window for the reception area. As I say, it does stick up a bit there, but you can't really tell from ground level, so it's not too bad. Had it been entirely flat, it would have been ideal, but we'll have to make do. So we'll finish closing off that back section, nice and easy, and we'll go to the side rooms, wherein we have yet more struggles. So, as you can see, this one at the front doesn't want to go in. The one at the back's fine, the one at the front, again, being awkward. I would try using the flat roof technique again. Unfortunately, the overlap there looks like it might cause problems. So, we're going to have to flamethrower this. At least I think we'll have to flamethrower it. I didn't actually try too hard in the end, as I just jumped onto flamethrowers as I know that works. So I'll get that back one in where it's going to cooperate. Break out the flamethrower traps. Just drop them on the roof. I'll use 2 because the flamethrower trap will disappear when the roof gets destroyed as well. So there we go. Let's activate that. Activate that. Nice. And now we can put the wall rather, in the way we want it. There we go. Nice. The same on the other side. A little persuasion. There we go. And we can repair these roofs, pull the traps out, and move on. So we're nearly there now. Last little bit of the building. Now I do want to keep the flat roofs here, but from ground level it looks weird not having angled roofs over this midsection where everything else is angled. So we're going to kind of double up here. So I'm swapping these flat ones out for angled roofs. Then we're going to break out the flamethrower so we can put flat roofs back in underneath. So otherwise the collisions will get in the way. So there we go. If you put that in just the right place, you can hit both roofs at once. Didn't manage it on this side, but there we go. Roofs are destroyed. Now we can just drop flat roofs in underneath. And it'll look right from ground level. So we'll repair these. And as you will see in a second, it looks much better from ground level. And it also gives me somewhere to kind of hide my generators a little bit, which is also a win as well. So not quite even, but definitely looks more sensible, I think, which is cool. So, on that note, let's head off, decorate this place, and have a look at the finished product, shall we? So here we go. Spooky Asylum vibes. Thought we'd do black and white for a bit of fun. If you guys do want to see a coloured version, I'll put it up on my Instagram. There's a link down in the description so you can get a look at a coloured version of this, but we'll keep the vibe going for Halloween. I do quite like how this has come out. In some ways it might have been better off being a little taller, but as you're probably aware by now, I find taller builds in Fallout tend to look a bit weird as well. So I went with a single story for this one. It's only a small spot. So we'll head into reception. Couple of nurses out here. As I said earlier, I did think about doing this with an abandoned vibe, but the thing just looks under-decorated if you do that. So I decided to go with it still being in use. So we've got for the Wildwood Tavern wallpaper out front here, along with the Slocum's Joe stuff on the back, just to give it both a clinical but a welcoming sort of public-facing area vibe. This camp's not really a functional camp because it doesn't have all the workbenches in, so I snuck a couple of bits in here and there to help out with that. The scrap box and the shelter entrance down there, and then I could head down there and use workbenches if I need to. Here is our really creepy clinical vibe out back. So, tiled walls in here. Work quite nicely with the black and white. This is actually a nighttime tour that looked slightly better than a daytime one did in black and white. This is a kind of recreation room for any patients. Gives them somewhere to hang out during the day, watch a bit of TV, play the piano, play some board games, that sort of thing. A bit nicer and more comfortable in here. Still keeping that clinical vibe with the wallpaper going as well. Trying to capture those One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest vibes a little bit with this. Which I think I did okay on. We head down to this end. We have the other side room. And this one I sort of pulled double duty on because of limited space. So this is office space for doctors and a person running the place, but also kind of doubles up as a talking therapy room as well. So we've got a little couch in there and somewhere to hold those talking sessions. Definitely much nicer room, less clinical, but more friendly and approachable and comfortable, this. Apart from the creepy dolls that are also part of the new bundle that's on the Atomic Shop at the moment. Definitely recommend picking that one up, it's very cool. Yeah, quite happy with how that room came out. Looks alright. Let's push on. A couple of asylum lights hanging down here. I did originally use fluorescent lights, but we've got asylum lights, so I thought we might as well use them, considering we're building an asylum. So, for the patients' rooms, these are basically all the same. There's a little bit of mirroring going on, depending on the side. We've got a toilet in there, hospital bed, chair, chest of drawers, and there is actually a sink behind the door here. Very, very compact, nice and secure, but a bit on the Spartan side, which kind of gets the right vibe going, I think. Let's have a look at the one on this side as well. You can see the sink on this side. So I kind of flipped a flop between do I make it look abandoned, do I make it look complete. So I maybe should have swapped that chair out. A bit unfortunate we don't have a dirty sink when everything else is dirty, but it'll do. Gets the right impression. So, with these rooms being basically the same, let's move on to the operating room at the back, which is definitely not a room you want to end up in. I do like the creepy vibes in here. This one's come out quite nicely. Put Solomon in there just because, more because of his ally station than the fact he's a doctor. See, it puts a few more medical items around, which work quite nicely. Got a gurney in there, a couple of chemistry stations, radiation dummy as well. Got the bath in the back for ice baths and stuff like that. They can move the gurney out the way if they need to. Got the Arctos lab coat and the medical hat, headgear thing, along with a surgical mask as well, just to dress up that dummy there. Yeah, like the creepy vibes we've got going on in here. Went with the Voltec doors there as well, because they're kind of clinical and medical looking. Let's close that up. Make our way back down the corridor. Gotta admit, I really like how the black and white has worked with this particular build. It's kind of fun. As I say, if you do want to see it in colour, I'll put something up on Instagram so you can check it out on there. Links down in the description if you would like to check them out. While you're down there are Twitter links and Facebook as well if you're interested in that, along with links to the merch store. If you would like to support the channel a little bit more directly as well, there's channel memberships down there as well. Likes and subs and notification bell is also appreciated. It very, very much helps out, so massive thank you to everyone who's done that as well. If you get the chance, do join us for our live streams as well. We are, of course, playing Fallout 76, as well as a few other bits and pieces around as well, which have been good fun. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And we've got some cool spooky stuff coming up very soon as well, so I do hope you join us for those. So, I do hope you enjoyed a little tour around my spooky Summersville Asylum. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.